President Donald Trump has renewed his interest in the reworking and possible termination of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which President Trump has emphasized as being the cause of thousands of lost American jobs. Earlier this spring, the Trump administration imposed a 20% tariff on Canadian lumber imports. This goes against the 2006 Softwood Lumber Agreement between the U.S. and Canada. The tariff was placed to make the American timber prices more attractive to domestic buyers. Canada has declared that they intend to seek legal action before the World Trade Organization if terms on the tariff are not renegotiated. We spoke with Ken Marson of Marson & Marson Lumber in Leavenworth earlier this year about the lumber tariff and where the timber crisis came from.
Back in 1993, I was able to go to the Presidential Timber Summit, and that's when they had the spotted owl controversy, and they cut so far back on timber, allowable timber cuts, and that really was a change to the industry back then. It's never really quite been the same. However, in the U.S., we actually have as many trees now as we did 100 years ago. They're not as big and stuff, but they certainly have some southern yellow pine forests down east, southeast really grow rapidly, and in terms of years, it's not quite as long as the Doug fir or hemlock forest out here. So, and there's some they've developed methods, the companies that do logging and the timber companies that own it, the mill companies, they've developed many technologies to really have smart ways to harvest and grow and process the wood. So we'll see if there's more timber cut. I think it'd be a win-win for everybody, because the states, they get some of their resources for school or monies for schools from the sale of the timber and natural resources, which has gone way down the last few years too. So it'll be interesting to see if we see much change or not.
Lumber futures in Chicago have shown 14% growth in domestic sales since the tariffs were put in place. But the U.S. has also increased timber imports from other nations such as Russia. Also, there is an expected increase in both Canadian and domestic timber sales following the destruction caused by Hurricane Harvey. I'm Jay Seebeck, NCW Life News.